passion that God had when he instituted marriage. Marriage is between you, God, and your spouse. But what we've done is done marriage our own way. What we've done is institute our heart and our love. Women were not commanded to love men, but guess what? Instead of submission, we rather fall in love. We rather be stuck on love. So women are out here loving anything and everybody. That's what they're doing now. And then men who were commanded to love are struggling to love women because the women are throwing themselves at many men. Even the men that are taken, the women are throwing themselves at them. Listen, this book, I'm going to do several lives on this book. So keep your eyes out. I'm going to do several lives pertaining the book and the things that we must correct as a society, as a body of Christ, so that our children will grow in the right homes. We won't re-traumatize our children the way we were traumatized. And then continue the cycle of failed marriages. But tonight, my prayer for you is that minus you. You are not included. When it comes to divorce, you're not included. When it comes to brokenness, when it comes to perpetual cycles of bad relationships, you are coming out of it. You're not part of it. And so tonight, I just want to invite you. I'm glad you joined me on very short notice. This was it was an impromptu, but the book needed to be launched tomorrow because I was in prayer and I was trying to figure out when is this book going to be launched, and waiting for certain things here and there. But it was clear that tomorrow is when the book needed to be launched. So to be honest, as short notice as it is, it needed to be done because tomorrow was the day. And so we moved that way. We moved accordingly. I'm excited. I'm thrilled. I'm more thrilled that God saw it fit to use me as a vessel to be out here teaching on marriages. And if you're wondering, what do you know about marriage that you want to come and teach me about marriage? In exactly 1 month, in exactly 30 days, I would have been married for 10 years. I would have been married for 10 years in exactly 30 days. And in those 10 years, the Lord groomed me, molded me, broke me, twisted me, ensured that I knew what it took to be married. So that in 10 years, when you read about athletes and great people, and they tell you it takes about 10 years to craft anything, right? 10 years to develop your skills, 10 years to whatever. Was it 10,000 hours? I don't know. Some people didn't take 10 years, but 10 years, a decade is enough. Is it a decade? Somebody help me. Is 10 years a decade? Or is a decade like 100 years? Listen, yo, a decade is 10 years. I believe it's 10 years. Lord help me. But listen, in those years, the humility, the things that I had to learn and endure and grow, I'm most grateful for the men and women of God that God positioned in my life. The men of God lined up in my life to help and support me through this journey. The right voice in your life, especially when it comes to marriage, when sometimes you feel like jumping over the bridge because we don't know what to do. Nobody trains you or teaches you how to be married. But God made sure there was always one person somewhere that heard my cry or showed up. When I looked around and it felt like it was lonely, He showed up. God found a way. And I'm forever grateful. So tomorrow, Dr. Fletcher from Ready Church, y'all, he will be launching the book for me. And I'm so honored that this apostle of God will be launching this book for me. He was very much part of my journey. He knows the book itself. And so I'm grateful that he stood by us, guided us, prayed for us, and led us to this place by the grace of God. So I honor him. Vetskin says, wow, you wrote a book? That's awesome. Congratulations. Yeah, it's actually my second book. I have another book called Who She Is. So listen, you can pre-order the book on Amazon, okay? If you go to Amazon.com, Bernice, if you're still on, or Mariah, if you're still on, you can find the link, but right this second, I can't work on any links right now because I have too many cameras going and I don't want to mess with the setup. But if you go to Amazon and you type in Ruth Yeboah, Yeboah, like just like my name, Coach Yeboah, Ruth Yeboah. Or you can type in the death and resurrection of marriage. It will come up. I'm the only title. That's the death and resurrection. I'm the only title. So that tells you, not only was this inspired, but it's not a replica of anything. I didn't go read any marriage books to learn skills. No, I did not. I'll be lying to you if I did. Of course, I've read extensively on marriage, but to write this book, I used no source but the Bible. I used no source but the Bible. So it's not a replicate of anything. Anything you're accustomed to, this is not a replicate. A replica. You know, I'm not replicating this. So I want you to join me tomorrow. The death and resurrection of marriage. Inbox me if you want the Zoom link. But you can also put it in Eventbrite and register through Eventbrite. Tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. We're doing this via Zoom. All right? I have people all over the world, so I can't, you know, just having one place will really cause me to miss out on all my loved ones that really want to be there. And so we will do Zoom so everybody can attend. Inbox us for the link. But if you look in the link in my bio, whether it's on Coach Yeboah's page or whether it's Women of Values page, please, you will see the link. Click on the link, book launch, and register. Register right now. Register right now. Mariah posted the link. I don't know. Does Instagram allow you to click? Maybe it does. I don't know. But I don't want to mess with the setup right now. So pre-order the book now, because tomorrow we're launching it. It may, thank you. Thanks for joining. It may allow you to be able to order. You can order the book and it may allow you to, you may get like a chapter or two, I don't know, in advance while you wait for your order to come in. But don't go yet, because I want to read to you the preface. I want to read to you the introduction. All right. I just want to finish talking and then we'll do that. And then once I read it, I'll be done and I'll be at your hair. All right. So I'm truly, truly excited. It's an honor to be used as a vessel. I used to be a marriage coach. No, I used to be a marriage counselor. And I transitioned to coaching. I transitioned to coaching for a very specific reason. But in working with couples over the years, I noticed there was a huge misunderstanding of what marriage is. Everybody was exiting their marriage because they were not happy. They were not happy, so they were exiting the marriage. But I want you to read the book so you can understand the source of your happiness is not your spouse. But because many of us have made the source of our happiness our spouse, guess what? We easily get offended. We easily get hurt. We easily want to throw in the towel because I'm not happy. And because this is a microwave society, it's very easy for us to just, you know, it's not working 1 month, I'm done. It's not working now, I'm done. We don't believe in the sovereignty. We don't believe in the sovereignty of marriage. And until you understand the sovereignty of marriage, you will never know why it's so important to marry God's way. When you remove the most important part of a marriage, you don't have a marriage. When you remove the one who holds the glue, when you remove the glue from your heel to the shoe. There's no shoe. The glue is what keeps it together. God is the glue in marriage. And a lot of us, we forego of the glue because we're not interested. We tell ourselves, why should I have to do this and that? Why should I? And so we don't make any effort. We make no efforts whatsoever to, excuse me, or that pizza. That's what it done to me. We make no efforts whatsoever to ensure that the marriage remains intact. All we care about is our feelings and our happiness and our this and our that. And that is very, very sad because there is so much more to marriage than just your feelings and your happiness. So you are invited. I pray and I hope that you will join me tomorrow as I launch this book. I want to spend a few minutes and read to you the introduction, the preface first and then the introduction. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. That's in Genesis 1:2. When we get married, our relationship may be void until the Spirit of the Lord moves upon it. The darkness covering our relationship may be due to trauma, the trauma we've experienced that needs healing, change, and transformation. We come to marriage without a clear vision of who God destined us to be. And we now must grow into the form He intended for us. So we must call forth light to come into our dark places, hurt and betrayals, and ask Him to make something out of the ashes of our lives. We call forth change. Our marriage will remain. We call forth change by overcoming Satan's agenda. Without the Spirit of the Lord, our marriage will remain without form, void and dark. Our marriage will remain without form, void and dark, without the Spirit of the Lord. Once the Spirit moves upon a marriage, purpose is discovered. Purpose is greater than your flesh. Your flesh is what wants to be happy. But the purpose of your marriage is greater than your flesh. So you must subdue the flesh, and light comes when you subdue your flesh. This is where you find joy, peace, ease, and restoration in your marriage. How is that for a preface? Those of you that are still on, how is that for a preface? A preface. Should I read the introduction? What do you think? Who's still on that wants to hear the introduction? Who's still on? Who wants to hear the introduction? Listen, marriage is all that. I love marriage. Every challenge I've gone through in my marriage, every situation I've gone through. Listen, you don't love the situation, you don't love the wilderness, but the lessons and the teachings and the trainings that came from those situations, I never take them for granted. I am grateful that the Bible says that we do not have a God that cannot, no, we do not have a priest. We do not have a high priest that cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmity. He was at all points tempted, yet without sin. Jesus felt your pain and nailed it to the cross. That issue you're going through in your marriage, Jesus already felt it and He nailed it to the cross. He feels your pain. He knows those places that need healing in your marriage. He knows it. So tomorrow, you can't afford to miss this launch. You can pre-order your book tonight. As soon as I'm done, the link is on there. You can pre-order your book. See, the funny thing is, a lot of times, things that people need, the people that really need the book, they won't read it, they won't get it, they won't be involved. It always happens. There are people who need God to come in their hidden places in their marriage. There are people that need God's touch because He's the only one that can make your marriage what it's meant to be. Talking to a man, a woman doesn't fix a marriage necessarily. It's only but for a time. So people stop doing something and they go back to it. You need transformation. That's what happens when you get born again. You must be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Marriage, you must be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And many of us don't do it. We know what we need, but we don't succumb. We don't submit. So don't look and say, it's a marriage book, it's not for me. No, you single person is even more for you. Because once you understand what's at stake, you will stop falling in love uselessly. And you will stop falling in love recklessly. You can't afford to play with your life in the name of love. What is love? What is love? When you don't love yourself and you don't love God, trust me, you can't love a spouse. I promise you that. I can boldly declare this. You don't come and love a man, come and love a woman. You don't love yourself. You know you don't love yourself. You also know you don't love God because you're not submitted to God. You must be under His authority. As a woman, before you can even say, I'm going to be under the authority of a man. That's a lot of women who struggle to submit to men because they're not under any authority. They don't understand the concept of submission. So they struggle. So somebody said they're here. So let me read the introduction of my book tomorrow. Don't forget, if you need a Zoom link, inbox us tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Ghana time, okay? GMT. So I'm going to read the introduction of the book. Here's the introduction of the book, tomorrow's launch. The Death and Resurrection of Marriage. You can look that up on Amazon and you can order it right now, right here, right now. When the Lord asked me to write this book, I was reluctant because it is not formal. It's not normal for us to put our business out there. But I also quickly realized it wasn't about us. What may look and seem like shame to many as you read this book, God used for His glory. The Bible tells us that every good and perfect gift is from above. James 1:17. When we meet our spouse, we see them as gifts. We're excited for them. We just can't wait to get married, right? When you're dating, you're like, ah. Anybody that gets on your way, you can shoot them down. Because so far as you're concerned, you're in love. You got to get married tomorrow. As time goes by, the mundane tasks of life can create complacency within couples that dims the initial excitement. The complacency would dim the initial excitement of the relationship. So we begin to feel bored, frustrated, overwhelmed, and disappointed with the way things are. Instead of praying and finding effective ways to improve the current situation, there is a tendency to seek happiness outside the marriage through infidelity, addiction, or settling to become roommates. Who can relate?